Hello everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to today's MarketingBitz webinar. The webinar for today is titled SEO 101, Beginner's Guide to Search Engine Optimization, and will be presented by our guest presenter, Solomon Timothy from ClickX. Just before we get started also, I just want to let you all know that you will receive a recording of this webinar tomorrow in a follow-up email, so if you miss anything today, don't worry about it. So a couple quick announcements. I also want you to know that this webinar is going to be archived on, if you could go back a slide, please. Thank you. The webinar is going to be archived on MarketingBitz.com. You can access it by clicking on the Webinars tab at the top, and then you're going to see that the webinar is posted at the top of the page, as you can see in the screenshot here, because they're all posted in chronological order. And also, if you want to look around the website, features a variety of resources for you to learn about the basics of digital marketing. Also, if you're on Twitter, feel free to follow along on today's conversation. You can tag us at MarketingBitz, or you can use hashtag BitzWebinar. Okay, next slide, please. And then the final thing I wanted to say, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the LSA who's hosting the webinar today. LSA stands for Local Search Association, and we're a trade association based in Michigan, made up of traditional and digital advertising and marketing providers, many of whom work directly with local businesses like yourselves. The LSA is made up of more than 300 members in about 20 countries. So that's all I have to say for today. So with that, actually one more announcement. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, we highly encourage you to ask them. This is supposed to be engaging, conversational, so please ask us all the questions you have. You can do that by plugging your questions into the bar on the right side of your screen. And we'll address those at the end during the Q&A section. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Solomon to start today's webinar.
Thank you, Becky. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity and all of you for joining us today. What I really want to cover is, like I said, the stuff that I've learned over the last 10 years being in this space. ClickX is a marketing platform, and it helps marketers, all of you that are here, with so many complex things. Like, we believe that marketing has changed so much in the last 10 years that it has become really complex, whether you're trying to do blogging or paid search or social media campaigns. A lot of us have this marketing black box that we don't know what's working for our businesses, and that's really what ClickX is out there to solve. So if you have any questions, do let us know. And like I said, that's all I have to share about ClickX, and we're going to get right into the presentation today. I hope to cover lots of topics about building a really awesome SEO strategy for your business. We're going to be covering keyword research, content creation, on-page optimization for your website, link building, and how to convert more traffic into customers for you. And before we start, I wanted to kind of get a quick survey of all of you that are here. So Becky, if you can load that up, you're going to be able to give us some sort of idea on how much experience you have with SEO, whether you've done this before or you're a beginner. So go ahead, Becky.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'll launch the poll. You're all going to see it just pop up right on your screen. Feel free to take this chance to just indicate which answer best fits you. And then I'll give you about a minute to do this, and then we'll reveal the results. So I'm going to launch it now. And just take about a minute or so to fill that out. We're going to give you a couple more seconds, so anybody last-minute responses, please fill those out now.
Yeah, I think it would really help us understand the audience so that I can kind of cater the message according to your experience with SEO.
But almost 100%. All right, I'm going to close the poll now. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so the results are in, and we got about 90% of the answers from everybody today, so thank you for taking that poll. And it looks like the majority of you, almost 50% of you, say you have done some SEO in the past. And then we've got about another quarter who say I've never done any SEO to my site, and then about another quarter that says I'm actively doing SEO.
Cool. All right. Perfect. Thank you for that. And can you see my screen now again?
What was that?
Becky, can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Okay,
yep.
Perfect. So going into the content here, given that 50% of you is somewhat familiar with SEO, I think you all understand that, today these stats are from last week. 96% of us are turning into our phones to go get things done. So those, I want to get something done, I want to go buy something, I want to research a company. So it has never been more important for all of us businesses to be getting that top position in top of search results, whether it's through paid or anything else, but this has never been a more critical time. And today, 67% of the buyers are doing most of their buying decision digitally. They're not turning into anything traditional. There's a joke in our industry that if you want to go find a dead body, it's going to be mostly on the second page of Google. So that means that none of us really even go and search, right? We don't go past the first page. So
I never do.
Exactly, right? It's like so it's really, really important that all of us pay great attention to our organic search. So if you're seeing the screen, this is probably what your current website traffic might look like. This is forget the traffic number, but a high percentage of your traffic might be coming from organic search. So that means that it's extremely important that we pay attention to getting more of those free traffic to our website. So let me go to my next slide here. So one thing to understand that I was coming up with this presentation, and I wanted to make a point for how important it is to understand how much competition there is in this search engine optimization world. As you can imagine, there's only 10 particular results on Google, and that's mixed with local results. Most of the top is Google's AdWords. So there's only very few spots for us to win in organic. So this is very competitive. So I found this picture. I'm like, okay, so if you're trying to get more visibility and you understand that this is high traffic, high competition, you can kind of compete in these kind of pictures that you're seeing here. You can't be thinking that this is a 9-to-5 thing. You're just going to show up to work and do some blogging and then be able to take it to the next level. What I really want us to envision when we talk about competition is something like this. All right, so it's a whole different kind of a warfare. This is the TV show that I like to watch for entertainment, is American Ninja Warrior. You might see this, and I thought to myself, most of these marketers, I've been doing this for so many years, and a lot of people have a lot of experience with so many different things, but what they fail is that they don't really understand how competitive it is until you start, putting something else that we actually watch on television for entertainment. I see this is being the level of competition when it comes to online marketing. And so for the next few minutes that we have together, I want us to think like ninjas, all right? So the mindset that we have to set for especially SEO, given how sophisticated it has become and all the 300 plus updates Google puts out every year, we have to be extremely competitive in order to win this game. So that's Max, by the way. That's our ClickX Ninja. That's his name is Max. Everything I'm going to be talking about is giving you some of that beginner stuff that you want to be doing for SEO, and I'll give you some ninja moves that you can use to win in today's competitive SEO world. So the first topic that I want to cover is researching for good quality keywords like a ninja. So in order to first talk about keywords, I just want to give you, for those of you that have never heard what keyword research is, or some of you that has been doing it for a few years maybe, you have to start to organize your keywords into these buckets. Like I said, I don't mean to go too deep into any particular topic. I just wanted to kind of build you up so that you can get to the next level. So you have to think about all the keywords that you have and start thinking about, are these navigational keywords? Do they want you to find where you're physically located at? Or are they looking for information, or are they looking to buy something? And so if you're doing keyword research, you might get really lost and you don't know where to put them into. I want you to start envisioning these three buckets essentially. Why do these three buckets matter? Because that way you can capture all kinds of searches that your potential customers might be looking for. So you don't want to be just looking at bottom of funnel, which we'll talk about, which are transactional keywords. You want to be kind of going up the funnel. And if you're getting stuck in keyword research, I have lots of resources that I'm going to be covering throughout the presentation. This one is called Keyword Tool, and this Keyword Planner tool that's given by AdWords is a free tool that anybody could use. You just go, and I have a link to it at the end of the presentation, so you don't have to take any notes. Just pay attention to the content so you can go execute this. Keyword Planner allows you to have so much of first-hand information directly from Google as to what the keyword might be that you're looking for, and what is the average monthly search volume, and what level of competition it is, and whether or not you were to buy AdWords for it, what would be an average cost per click for that keyword. So if you had no idea where to turn to find any particular keyword for your industry, this would be the first place. Like I said, keyword research is the first pillar in our presentation. Another thing that you can do is, as you're searching for some of the terms that your potential customers might be searching, so let's just say that you're a plumber, or you're doing roofing, or you're doing siding, or whatever services that you might provide, whether it's B2B or B2C, you could start finding these keywords at the bottom of the search results. So once you scroll down below, you've probably seen this but didn't pay attention to what that might be. Well, that's Google telling you what are relevant or related keywords to what you're searching for. Obviously, when I took a screenshot, I was looking for the keyword research, and Google is telling me these are other potential keywords. So as a marketer, I am copying and pasting these keywords into an Excel spreadsheet so that I can begin to optimize them for my campaign. And once you're kind of gotten all those keywords, you can actually get even more information by just typing the keyword into Google. Google will start to suggest other keywords. So again, there's so much information around us, we just have to use our brain so that we can get the right keywords that Google is suggesting. That means that it's not just you, hundreds and thousands of other people might be searching for the same thing. And for some of us, when you're doing keyword research, let's just say that you're in a technical space, you don't really understand what your audience might be searching for because you're kind of new into the space. It's going to become popular in the next 24 to 48 months. In those cases, I would like you to start maybe meeting with those people and say, hey, if you were to search for my industry, I want some insights, grab them, take them out to coffee, buy them lunch, whatever it might be. What are some keywords that you would search for if you're looking for the product or service that I'm selling? So go find those potential buyers, go find existing customers and ask them, what would you search for? Sometimes as marketers, we turn to the internet for information. We almost overlook that face-to-face, being able to understand from your potential buyers what they might be looking for. So this is one of those things that I think when I was a consultant, I was doing all these campaigns, I would try to find any opportunity to talk to the customers of our clients so that I can understand, because we often overlook, we're always looking for new business per se, but then we don't really understand what are the pains that they're going through. So how do I help create content that will help solve that pain? So here's my first ninja move for all of you that are in my keyword research. Like I said, I have 45 minutes or so. We're going to fly through these things. So and it's recorded, and you're going to have all the slides. But the first ninja move is to find your competitors, which are those folks that are on the first page of Google today, not the ones that are probably 5 blocks down from your business. It's the folks that you see on first page of Google. Go and take the keywords that they rank for. So this is a screenshot from ClickX, how we actually provide this information. But once you get the organic keywords of your competitors, maybe the keyword research dilemma might get a little simpler, because you just need to plug in all those competitors and figure out what do they rank for organically and what are the keywords that they pay for. This is one of those things. If they're actually paying for it, then obviously they've figured out what works, and obviously they've tested it. They're not going to waste money on something that's not yielding any results for them. So this kind of strategy that I'm laying out here will help you fail less, so that in the next 6 months or 12 months, as you're trying to get your SEO ramped up, you're going to fail less and you're going to see results faster. Like I said, for me, I come from that business background. I meet with CEOs and I have to explain to them how long SEO takes, and oftentimes we have the wrong picture of, like, you want SEO to work yesterday, but it's really a marathon, not a sprint, right? So you need to understand what are the right keywords that you need to go after, what your competitors are doing, how much does it cost, what am I paying per visit, even though it's from organic, and what percentage of those visits are actually turning into customers. If you can't have a business conversation, it doesn't matter how much traffic you have, it's not really going to yield anything. But long story short, once you find the right kind of keywords and you found the competitors, you've organized them, what you really want to do next is put into a keyword tracking tool. so that you don't have to remember this. It's not kept in an Excel spreadsheet. You now are going to be able to track what are those keywords that I captured in my list, and whether it's from your manual research or asking your customers or looking at your competitors, and from my pages that I have on my website, what are the pages that are ranking for this, so that my next step would be to go optimize these pages so that I can get better results for those pages, and what are the current ranks as it stays today. And is there any search volume for this? Even though it's low, there might still be some search volume that you can go get higher traffic from those long-tail keywords. So long story short, if you've been able to successfully do SEO, or you've done some SEO in the past, those 50% of you, and you have those keywords that you've actually saved in your archives maybe, or you have a keyword tracker, you're already into being successful in the SEO game. Because every time I talked about a new campaign, I have to go into understanding the buyer persona. I have to understand the pain for the buyer persona, what are the keywords and what our competitors are doing. And this actually becomes a whole month worth of exercise for the business and the consultant to go back and forth and really finalize. Now, at the same time, keyword list never ends. Like, this list is 732. So over time, you're going to find more keywords that you want to be optimizing for. Over time, you're going to find new competitors. Over time, you're going to offer new services, and you're going to want to go after more keywords. So you can definitely start with a few, maybe like 50 or 75, but it's going to continue to grow as you start to capture more of the traffic from your competitors that you have today.
So Solomon, can I interject and ask a question?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, cool. So I was just thinking, you're saying you have to refresh your keywords, every once in a while, because obviously things change, competitors change, all that kind of stuff. So how often would you recommend going back and kind of refreshing your keyword strategy?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I would think that every 6 months or so you should kind of look at what are we going after and what have we gotten so far, because some terms are more competitive, like I said earlier, and it's very hard to break into those terms, so you might have to prioritize other ones. But if you kind of go after the same keywords and you don't get any traction, you're wasting time, right? So you have to find out what are those low-hanging fruits that I can get. But from an outset, when you're doing research, it's very hard for you to know what's going to work, what's not. You can't really tell without going out there and trying to optimize, trying to create the content and the links and so forth.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, biannual little checkup would not hurt, and you don't want to be changing your SEO strategy 4 times a year, because then you're wasting more time. So you know what I mean? You want to have some sort of
right.
Right. You want to make sure you understand and also not change them all the time, because then you're also going to be losing time because you can't build that momentum that you're really trying to go after.
Gotcha.
All right. So once you've figured out your keywords, like I said, it's very, very important, because we don't want to be wasting time a year going after the wrong keywords. That's another nightmare for businesses. I've seen consultants handing over accounts and say, oh my God, these guys were going after this, while my 80% of my profit comes from this area of my business. So you want to be optimizing for the thing that's really going to make you money, and not the one that is, it's just another keyword that's out there. What you want to be doing is creating content, because like I said, you might have heard this content thing hundreds and thousands of times, but the whole industry is called content marketing for a reason, because what Google ranks on the first page, if you looked, is a blog post or a video or some sort of a content piece. So if you can create content, which I'll have some answers for you how I can help you solve that, but if you can't really create content, it's going to be very difficult to win. So essentially all of us are becoming content marketing companies. Essentially we're becoming somewhat of a media company. You have to understand the pain of your buyers and create content around how to solve that for them. So the first thing in any conversation that I have in content creation is that you have to understand that, you've probably seen a funnel before, but it's just a quick reminder that as you create content, don't always be creating content at the bottom of the funnel, which is what all business owners kind of want. I want more leads, I want more sales, I want more of this. It's kind of like, kid in the candy store. They kind of want just that end result. They just want some more sugar or whatever it might be. But as a marketer, you have to understand that you have to create content even before somebody goes out to Google and wants to search for something. So before they have that inspiration to go want to buy something or look up a company, whatever that might be, they want to research a topic, you have to be there creating that type of content. So it might be very, your boss might not like the blog topics that you might come up with, but you have to understand why you're creating content for people that are in the awareness stage. And then as you come down the funnel, why are you creating A versus B and creating different kinds of content around testimonial content or case study content, so that as they're beginning to decide a company to work with, you're also there. So examples of a top of funnel might be like, what is managed IT? You know what I mean? People looking for managed IT, they don't even know what it is. What is managed services? It could be an example. What is SEO, right? So someone who's a novice, have no idea what it is, you want to make sure that that person is actually captured while they're searching, so that as they go down the funnel, you can continue to feed them with additional content to help them understand. So if you're stuck at kind of coming up with that types of a keyword topic for you, or the right headline for you to come up with content, I'll give you an answer. The tool is called Answer the Public. Again, these slides are going to be in your inbox afterwards, so you could go look at them afterwards. Answer the Public is a free tool, and you can punch in your keywords for your industry, and then you will begin to get a long list of keywords that you can get to work for the next 6 to 8 months. You won't run out of topics, I'll tell you that much. We use this tool here as well as a couple more. I have some more for you, but this is a free one that I really can't wait to tell as many marketers as possible. And once you've kind of created content, again, you're going to have a blog full of new pieces of content that ties to each persona, to certain pain that they have. So I want to warn you, though, back in the day when I started doing SEO, it was a lot of content, keyword stuffing and all sorts of illegal things, I would call it today in today's SEO standard. This is what people realized that they needed to do in order to rank for websites. So for those folks that are new to SEO, I want you to understand, when people talk about keyword and content in one sentence, it does not mean you have to put the same keywords 500 times in your content. And if you do that, there's an update called Panda. It will come and kick your butt, is exactly what I want you to know. Late 2011, Google released Panda updates. They keep coming up with new versions of them. It actually rewards good quality content and not the poor quality content. So if you're outsourcing your content to someone and you're not even reading what they're putting on your website, it could actually be doing more harm than good. And just because you give them 50 keywords to optimize, they're just going to put the same keywords 500 times on their title tags and so forth, and hoping that you think it's SEO. I just want to warn you that this whole game is about quality and not quantity, all right? So it's about the quality of the article, it's about the quality of the page, it's about the quality of the domain name. You'll learn that as I start giving you more and more insights. In fact, Brian Dean did a study. He looked at a million search results pages, and he looked at all the different keywords that ranked on the first page, or the websites that ranked on the first page, how many words it had. So on the first, second, and third, on average, Google search results had somewhere between 1,900 to 2,000 words to be on the first spot of search results. As you know that if you're on the first spot, you get almost 60-70% of the search, the clicks, and it goes down as you're on the bottom of the first page. And nobody goes to the second page, if you can imagine. So what I want you to do is take a look at your current strategy in creating content. Are your blog posts 500 words or 350 tops, and then you're looking to get on the first page for an extremely competitive keyword? Like I said, the level in which we compete for SEO has to change in order for us to win. And many marketers leave out the hard part. They leave out, they get the gym membership, but they leave out going to it and exercising on a regular basis, or they leave out the nutrition part of it, and they're hoping for faster results. And like I said, me being on the consultant side, I see this too many times where we don't want to do the hard work to get the results. And like I said, I don't mean to make this webinar one that's going to be difficult, but we have to understand what it is that we're competing for so that we can go get the right people on our team so that we could win. And like I said, it really becomes all about getting people to see your content and to share it. So if you were to create 300 new blog posts for the new year, I mean, that might be too much. Maybe you start with 30. You have to come up with the right headline. So here's a tool that you could use to go punch in your keywords in your industry, like I put big data, and then I found all the keywords, all the top posts with big data in it, and that's being shared the most. And as you can see, these headlines are not 2 or 3 words. They have some sort of numbers in them. They may have odd numbers. There's 152 ways to do XYZ, ways to save money if you're considering XYZ. So you have to come up with some sort of a catchy headline to have your content created. That means that you're going to need a ninja copywriter, okay? So it's not going to be just done by you. If you're not a copywriter, and if you want to come up with some really crafty content, I recommend getting a copywriter on staff or a freelancer, or outsource it to another company who can create extremely high quality content that you will share and that other people want to share for you. The name of this tool is BuzzSumo. Again, it's at the end of the presentation, so you don't have to take notes. But remember that writing ninja quality headlines is the only way to get good quality content out there that you'll be able to win in this sort of level. So that's my ninja copywriter there, and understand that this is not going to be a overnight thing, that it takes time. So maybe you have 350 words content for the last 12 months that you've been writing, and you probably want to be able to get that to 650 or 700 or 800, and then you might want to consolidate 3 or 4 blog posts into one super piece, that you're not just spreading yourself too thin by writing the same kind of content in 3 different blog posts. Consolidate it, create one topical relevant content that's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 words, and that has a much better chance of ranking than just putting out more blog posts for the sake of putting out more blog posts. I've seen this where marketers put out more blog posts so that they have something to share on Facebook. Again, wrong strategy. You're not going to get it in SEO, and I'd rather all of us marketers, do it the right way and see success faster than just kind of going through it. So like I said, this is my own life story here, that I made plenty of mistakes, but you can't get to that black belt overnight. So all of us have to take what we learn here in this webinar and other content that MarketingBitz and any other blogs puts out, and try to improve the game that you're playing, and you'll have much better chance in succeeding. Beck, any question? If not,
well, we have a couple of questions from the audience, but I think we'll wait until the end to share those, so we can just continue.
All right, so I got a little bit more content. I promise to fly through this as well. As we saw where the right keywords are, creating content, the next big piece for Google really is your code, or the technical side of your website. So what I want you to kind of cover in the next few slides is how do you optimize for on-page, which is the technical side of your website. It is a little technical, I promise you, and I talk to CEOs all the time, and what they say is, you don't need to learn what these technical things are unless this is what your life is going to be for the rest, right? You want to learn SEO, you want to be a master in SEO, that's great. Then you want to go into every single element of this and understand how to fix them and how to learn from them. What you need is really the ability to understand that these things are done for you properly on your website, or somebody is looking after your title tags and your meta description. Whoever's that you have in your marketing team on site, they realize that the importance of these things, and they're educated, they have the right tools to go fix it, and the CEO or the manager, the owner, whoever is looking after the sales or their marketing, they don't have to know the bits and pieces of it. Like I said, you have to learn to delegate and make sure that the people that you have on staff are certified and they got the right kind of knowledge, or the people that you work with, they realize. And like I said, when I started doing this thing, I had to go get dirty and get my hands dirty with all the code and really understand, oh, well, I fixed this, but I broke something else, and I realized what I really needed was a ninja developer, folks. I needed a ninja developer, and since then, I've never relied on just my skills, because I worked with different CMS systems. People migrate websites. Things get screwed up over time. People delete posts without knowing it. And you just really need to know somebody's looking after your on-site technical SEO. And if you have somebody's watching it like a hawk, or you have tools that's going to help you monitor it, again, this is one of those things that we as ClickX are proud to tell you that our websites are audited every 6 days, so that nothing is put on the back burner. We know when an issue happens immediately the next week. Then you give it to a developer and say, go fix those things that popped up in an error messages, right? If you had no tools and you had to start somewhere, here's a free tool from Google. It's called Google Search Console, which, like I said, a lot of marketers don't even set up. So one of the integrations that we had in ClickX is Analytics, Search Console, AdWords, and all these things. And I never see anybody connecting Search Console, almost as if they didn't know that it existed. And it's really sad, because Google gives you so much information, what's wrong with your website, what are the pages that have no titles or descriptions or cannot be crawled, or sitemaps not indexed. It gives you so much information. People almost underutilize this side of Google. And like I said, you don't have to be an expert in it. As long as you know it's there and you have somebody who's helping you execute it, you should be in good shape. But if you didn't know and you don't have it set up, it's really quick. You're going to still probably need a developer to get it set up. just talk to your developer or whoever you work with and say, hey, can I get access to my Search Console? I want to take a quick look at it. I want to see if my errors are going up or down. My index pages are going up, right? I want to make sure that the content that Google is telling me that I actually have impressions for are relevant keywords. If not, I'm ranking for the wrong keywords and I need to relook at my SEO strategy. As you're thinking about writing title tags for your newly website, we have a free tool here at ClickX. Just go to our website. You can actually see what Google will show that title as. So you want to make sure that the whole idea about this is that it is a clickbaity as possible title that you can come up with. That when they see that in search results, you want people to click on. So this is something that we use for a lot of marketers. We're looking at what would this look like in Google. We quickly created that for all of you out there that are really trying to see what your page might look like on Google. Here's the well-optimized website. Page. I can tell you have a title, you have content, you have internal links. These are, you have an H2 tags, you have bullet point content, and there's probably more links. The picture I showed you earlier with all those things that you need to see, it's very easy to execute that. It's very easy to make sure that your images have all tags. Like I said, these aren't complex things, but somebody just have to go look and get it done. When it's all said and done, folks.
Solomon, hey, can I interrupt you for a sec?
Sure,
Sorry,
sure.
I didn't mean to ruin your flow there.
Oh, no worries.
I just was thinking, when you showed me the previous slide, I've been getting a couple of questions for clarification about when you were talking about content. So if you could go to the previous slide, you have an example of like what a page might look like. And when you were talking about content earlier, you said something about like 1,000-word blog posts are better, yep, or there was a certain number that works the best. So could you clarify again what were you were saying about the length of blog posts and like what's the best length to have?
The length of blog posts. So it's going to depend on every search query. So if you Google that term that you're trying to optimize for and you looked at the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 results, take a look at the average word count every single one of those results have. And if the average word count is 650, then your competition is only putting out 650 word content. That means there's probably not a lot of competition. And then you want to be able to outdo them. So I would go in with a piece of content that's like 2,000 words and then try to promote that and get to the first page. Now, some of the terms that we might be looking at have 6,000 words. So I can't just put another 650 word blog post and hope for the best, right? I now have to create more value for that person who's looking at it. So I now have to consolidate content. I need to do my own research, create video content, infographic, put all that on one website. So this piece that you're looking at, it's a very long piece. I only took the title of it. So this is another blog post on ClickX. It's like there's not a blog post on our website that is less than 1,000 words created by me, because I have other authors as well. And that is so between 1,000 to 2,000 words is my average blog post. And there's 3 of them going up every week, if you can imagine.
So it just depends on what your competitors are doing, like you said.
Absolutely. And being able to
and what if it's just like you have a really small company, it's just you and maybe like one other person, or you just don't have a person who's completely dedicated to making content for you and writing blog posts for you and stuff. I could imagine if that was the case, it'd be kind of hard to push out blog posts of 2,000 words like 3 times a week. So do you have any recommendations for those people as far as what maybe they could do?
Absolutely. I think what you would want to do is create an editorial calendar of all the pieces that you'd like to see put up on your website. And that is a very executive job. You can come up with, hey, here's what I'd like to see for the next 6 months. And you want to be able to freelance to somebody who can write in your industry. Some of the industries were very technical that I worked in. I couldn't even write it, right? I couldn't have a journalist work on it because they didn't know how to do it. So I had to go find somebody very specialist in that industry. So depending on the industry, I would really want you to know that content is great when you outsource it. You might want to find a good partner, but it's even greater if you have full control over who's doing it, how they're doing it, it's in your right tone, and that you can if you want more, they're able to do it for you rather than some sort of a contract where you get 2 blogs a month. And by the way, those contracts are great, but 2 might not be able to help you win in this game. That's what I'm saying. It's really understanding who you're competing with and whether or not if you needed to buy more stock to win, you know what I mean, that you know that you need to do it. Not just say that I got my marketing covered because I have, Lily taking care of my marketing. You know what I mean? That's great. Right. It's great. It's like out of sight, out of mind, but, don't ask why you're not winning. Yeah. When Google's changing so fast and Lily's not keeping up.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So like I said, this was just an example of alt tags. Google does show those search results. If you're a visual company, you have a lot of pictures, you should be optimizing every single photo. more technical things, but I just want to fly through this. My last thing before I give you 2 ninja moves is that you want to be able to increase the engagement of your page on search results with that title tag in the description that you have. So just have a screenshot of one of my titles. The reason is you could go to the top position if everybody clicks on that title. Like look at BuzzFeed and all those websites. What they really do is they want you to click on that title because they get so much organic traffic just by Google changes the search results by the engagement of the title. Let's put it that way. It's machine learning, it's AI. Google's changed the whole thing where they will reward engagement over just having long piece of content or the authority when it's appropriate. So if you can get that site, if your site is the one that's on the 9th spot, and if you can keep tweaking your title tag until somebody actually is like, I got to see this piece, here's, mastery in this page, I need to click on it, then you will get rewarded for having the most engagement on that search results page. And like I said, we've done lots of tests where we just changed the title tag and we saw the engagement go up. Immediately our ranking went up with it. So things are changing. Like I said, you can't just expect to win without constantly doing tests, and anytime you learn from content they put out by blogs and such, you should try to emulate it and understand. So the latest thing that Google did is mobile first index. So that means that if your website only displays half the content on a mobile device, then Google only is going to display what it indexes from the mobile view, not the desktop view. So a lot of us shut down pages on our mobile website, or we don't have a full-blown mobile website. We only have 3 pages. Well, guess what? You just literally said no to SEO for all the pages that you have because Google is only indexing the stuff that it has on mobile. And if it does really well in mobile, then it's going to push out that to search results on desktop as well. So a lot of business owners don't understand how important mobile is. We all walk around with it. 96% of us say that's what we're going to use to get things done. But when it comes to our own marketing, we look at it on a big desktop with 27 inches, iMac or whatever. And then they say, oh, everything looks perfect. I can see it. But then the average person can't see your phone number. They don't see your call to action, and the freaking website doesn't load, which is my last subject. Speed on your mobile website. That's a ninja move right there. You have to make sure that your website loads in 2.9 seconds, people, because most of us, we leave the website if it takes more than 2.9 seconds. That's a number given by Google. If we leave websites because it doesn't load in 2.9 seconds, imagine what our customers are going to do. And if we have a crappy mobile presence, we're not going to win. Again, this gets really technical, which is why the whole technical side needs to be dealt with a ninja developer who can constantly optimize the website, the video, the content, everything to load very, very fast. I know I'm flying through here, but I promise I'm almost done. So second to last section is building links like a ninja. For all of you that have no idea what link building is, I just want to give you this slide so that you understand after this webinar you won't have any questions on what a link is. It's other web properties linking to your website. They have a link on their website like we all click on. We call it the blue underline things back in the day. Those are those links. You want to get as many of them, but remember it's quality over quantity. But that's merely what we're talking about when we talk about link building. And a lot of the content that we create today, you can share it on social media. Those are called social signals. Your blog posts, your videos, infographics, and so on, the content you publish on other websites, you certainly want to be sharing that because Google can index them and see them and so forth. But you want to be able to go get high-quality links from other websites, and I'm going to show you how you could do that. So in order for you to just earn links, which is other people giving you links because they think you're awesome, you have to first start with having some really good linkable assets to your website. What are these linkable assets? Well, I know that for a fact I don't link out to another website unless I think they have something cool that I don't have that I think my reader, my audience will benefit from. So those could be a free training or an ebook or a better blog post than the one I'm writing about, or it's a detail in one topic that I can link to. Maybe it's an ultimate guide sort of educational content, which is like, hey, here's ultimate guide on how to redo your office. Like I moved to this office like 3 months ago. I've yet to finish it because we've been busy. So I might want to read that blog post about how to furnish your website so that everybody's happy, right? It's like the ultimate guide in creating the most fun office space. So I might want to link to that one, or you might have checklists or downloads or ebooks or whatever else that people can find value. One of the important ones is ROI calculator. People like any kind of interactive content, a quiz maybe. anything like that is how you begin to attract those people from wanting to give you a link. They're not going to just give you a link because they think you're cool. They want a link so that their audience can actually find value in what you do. So you might create this really cool calculator or interactive quiz or whatever it might be, and what you're going to have to do is find people that actually share this type of content. So you could use any tool to go do that. This is kind of like my desktop. Hundreds of tabs open any given time. And I'm always looking at different people and say, hey, maybe I can interact with this person. Maybe I can talk to this guy because he seems to be sharing content that is relevant in what I'm doing for XYZ project. And what you do after that is you really start emailing them. You literally start contacting them and say, hey, I had such and such piece of content that I created. I think it would be useful for you. I thought you might want to check it out. Again, personal email, one-to-one. This is the kind of way that we approach link building here. It's not automated. It's not outsourced. It's not going to overseas. Let's just be honest. I want to know who we're getting link from and is it quality over quantity. So give you some examples of bad emails that people have sent to me so that you don't go ahead and make these kinds of mistakes. So they got my next one. Again, I'm looking at it from my mobile. That's where I check all my emails. Wrong email, delete. Next one. I love your article and they wanted to do something with it, but they don't even know my name. It's not even personalized. Delete. Next one. Lady put subject line in the subject line. You see what I'm saying? Unbelievable. Paying attention to what you're doing and doing it well is very different than just sort of like rinsing, just like just shooting in the dark and hoping for the best. That sort of approach does not work. And like I said, I had a couple of examples where people, this one is like they love my content about local SEO and some kind of proposal, but they couldn't get my name right. I mean, do you think I'm going to give 2 seconds of my day and I check that email at 5:54 in the morning? You could see how disastrous these people are trying to do all the work and get no result for it, right? And there's a good example of somebody's actually following up with me from an original email saying, hey, Salman, I saw your piece on such and such website, and I didn't really receive an email. I want to follow up with you. Here's a suggestion. Those are the kind of outreach that people want to read, and they might respond to you, and they might give you a link because you came off the right way, and you're trying to provide value to my audience. Again, what's in it for me, right? That's the thing that all of us marketers should be asking, what's in it for me, meaning what's in it for the people that we're talking to, what's in it for our audience, how do I provide more value? So if you do it like that, it will definitely get you better ROI than just trying to hoping for any link from anywhere. Quantity is not really what it is. It's about quantity. And I just thought that I'll give you one ninja move here in backlinks, which what I do is we look at our competitors' backlinks, and then you sort them by the highest quality of backlink to the least quality, and then you try to go find out if you're able to get the same backlinks as your competitor. Again, you might still have to outreach and create content or guest post or whatever it might be, but every single one of these links are something that you came off from your strategy, not just hoping for the best. Going into my last session here, and then we're done, folks. I got 2-3 minutes, and I promise I'll be done. So what's the point of having all this traffic? Let's just say that you did blow up. You did get tens and thousands of visits to your website, but you're getting no more sale, right? You did all the black belt moves, and you created content. You have links coming in left and right because you know what you're doing. You're working 24 hours. You're attracting all these visits, but you can't get traffic to convert. That's what I want to talk about the next 2 minutes. The average website today has 2% conversion rate. So all of your marketers, if I were to do a poll, I would ask one question, which is, do you know your site-wide conversion rate? Meaning, of all the traffic that you get to your website, what percentage of them are converting, and do you actually know that number? And this is a very difficult question because as marketers, we're running around trying to create content, send email campaigns, do all these things, but we fail to see whether or not our conversions are lifting. Sometimes when I do projects, I look at them and say, look, you don't need more traffic. You have the traffic figured out. It might only be 7,000 visits a month. It might not be 70,000, but they have very poor conversion. And if you tweak that, your numbers could look so much better on the end than to just look for more traffic and going to a poorly optimized for conversion website. So the way we like to recommend as part of this webinar here is how you should be thinking about, this is kind of like I said in the earlier slide with the funnel, I said everybody's looking for that requested code form to come in any given second. I want a free consultation form. I want them to do this. I want them to do that. I want them to buy my stuff. which is if it's an e-commerce website, I'm looking for that transaction. That is the end goal. Of course, I understand we're all trying to run business, but as marketers, I want you to have a different perspective on getting conversions, which is those micro conversions. Them subscribing to your email newsletter has so many thousands of dollars of dividends than them just filling out the form, and it's it's like an unqualified prospect. Or them subscribing to your YouTube channel, or them checking out your social profile, wanting to engage with your brand and want to be part of what you're doing, or want to be kept up to date with what you're doing. So if we start thinking about giving more value as to just grabbing that bottom of the funnel deal, then it is going to give you far better ROI in the long run than all of us just chasing for the next lead and, oh, I got it from such and such keyword. Of course, ClickX is a platform that lets you track every lead to the source, but I myself will tell you, try to find any way possible providing more value, whether it's in the form of an ebook that you have. So one of the things that we give for free to all the marketers is a tool called ClickX Free, which you can put a bar like this on the top of the website, guiding the people that come to your website with an offer. That is not to request a code or whatever. It is to do something small in their journey of finding whatever the solution that they might be looking for. So in this case, it was a link to a webinar that we were hosting. Another thing that we use is a form on the left-hand side. We call it the lead form, because we realized after looking at thousands of websites, lots of people go to the homepage, but very few people make it to the contact us page. So the ratio is like not even 10% of the people make it to the contact page, and the contact page is the business owner's dream form that's on that page. So we realized, what if we were to take that contact page form and bring it to every page? It's like a little widget that opens up and closes it, and it's not an obtrusive pop-up that I hate. I don't like them, and I don't put them on any other platform, or it's not a feature. But this right here lets you customize the colors, the content, so that you can have an opportunity to engage with this prospect, whether to give them a demo or give them an ebook. This literally downloads the information, and you can put that to MailChimp or anything like that. So that's another way that you can increase conversion, even without having $1 spent on optimizing for conversion. These are just tools that you can use. And my final one, which is one of my favorite ones, we call this lead magnets. So you're on a blog post, you're reading the content, and you see a little thing saying, hey, download this thing, take it home with you, or whatever the PDF, and then it pops up and grabs an email address. As marketers, we need to let go of wanting the first name, last name, company name, titles, phone number, zip code. We don't need that information. We can always engage with this prospect and get more information later. But this little lead magnet gets so many leads going into our pipeline, going into our email newsletter, so forth. As marketers would emulate more of this, then we're far more successful than waiting for that contact form. And the sad part is that we don't even download all our contact forms and then do something with it. We just kind of keep it there because it was a good lead or bad lead. It didn't close, so we're not going to talk to them again. So ClickX doesn't solve all these problems for you, but it definitely has, like I said, I built it for the marketers and the business owners that are struggling to get leads. So long story short, there is a example of providing value over sale. This is a perfect example. When we first built ClickX, we didn't even have a platform, but we built what's called a ClickX Grader, which gives you a 10-second audit of anybody's website, and we let it out there. Thousands of people filled out the form. They got to audit their website for free, and you can too, but long story short, that gave us so many people's information even before we did have a platform. So gives you some idea of how you can increase conversions, and like I said, it was like a 5-phase thing. If you can follow along, this webinar is recorded. I would love for you to watch those sections that you think you need to work on, but I believe that if you can follow these things that we've done, this is what I've learned in the last 10 years. I hope that you would be able to go and get more success, folks. I like to say that you've earned a black belt for your efforts. I'm really proud of you for sticking around and learning about it. Becky, I have a couple of slides for bonus. Can I just finish that and we're good?
Yep,
go ahead. For questions? Yep. Yeah. So, only thing I could ever recommend for any business owner that's struggling to get traction on SEO, struggling to figure out what they should do to get more conversions or whether or not how they should be building links, is that I offer my time for free for a lot of marketers. I'll be more than glad to do that. Again, this is just so that you can get more value. I've done partnership with MarketingBitz in the past. I contribute to it, and I can really tell you that most of the time they just need little bits and advice here and there. and you'll see far better success. So I'll be more than glad to do that. The only other thing I said is ClickX free. Again, it's free. If you wanted to get it, that's the link for you to get it. But otherwise, here's the resources for you, all the links to all the tools that we talked about. And thank you for joining us. And that's your slide where you can get more about MarketingBitz. Yes, yes.
All right, cool. So we have about 10 more minutes left of the webinar, and so I'd like to encourage everyone, now is the time to ask your questions. We want you to be engaged. We want to know what you're thinking right now. You just had a ton of information thrown in your face, and so I'm sure you have questions. So
I understand.
And also, just so everyone knows, just to keep everybody on the same page, don't worry if you did miss something and you were trying to take notes like a madman, and then you missed something. You will receive this recording again tomorrow in your email inbox sometime either in the morning or the afternoon. So you'll have access to all the slides. You can pause it at the parts where you didn't remember what Solomon said, or if you actually, Solomon, if you could go back and let's hold it on the link slide.
Sure.
Just back one slide, and then everybody can have a chance to look at that. If you want to write that down, now you have access to that. So we're actually getting quite a few questions in, so I also want to let everybody know, since we only have about 9 minutes now, probably won't have time to get to all of your questions. So if we miss a question, don't worry. I'm going to send these to Solomon personally, and he'll be able to reach out to you with a response.
Sure. So
let's get started with what a couple people are wondering. Okay, so we had a good question here about budget for SEO. So I guess that would kind of bleed more into the SEM category, Solomon, but do you have any suggestions as far as maybe people who are beginners with this sort of thing, like how much money they might want to dedicate to focusing on search engine optimization or anything like that?
Absolutely. So as a business, you might have a marketing budget that is getting split between trade shows and so many different things, and every salesperson wants to sell you something. I feel you. And when it comes to really budgeting, if you're a startup and you're just trying to get going, you might have to spend more money than an established plan because you don't have a website, you don't have a really good authority, you might need to go establish that. So you might have, just like putting a storefront, it's not like a $5,000 thing, it might cost you $50,000. So similarly, you might have to put a lot of work up front to create a really good foundation. But after that, it's a numbers game where I would just make it very simple. If you're a business owner and you don't know your cost per lead, I would work backwards. So you invest $2,000 into SEO and you have a $5,000 salesperson as a salaried person, and you take the total and then you divide by the number of leads that it produced, and you say my cost per lead is $500 a month. Is that a sustainable way to run a business? Do you get what I mean? And if that's you and you have $50,000 services, maybe it works for you to be at $5,000. You might have to be at $100 if your service is $500, or maybe $1,000. So it's a numbers game where you have to see what is the ROI that you're getting, and then you invest accordingly to get more. You want to spend more. Same with paid search. You want to be making sure that the ROI in how many conversions you get from $5,000 ad spend is XYZ. And I have yet to meet a marketer who can do that kind of a math, so I really hope that who you're working with is able to break it down for you. But I will always work on what is the number you need to be able to run your business successfully, and not just hope that $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 SEO is the right budget for you.
Okay. So I got another question here, which I thought was really interesting. You mentioned, you have like an email grabbing tool on your website where it'll say like, oh, download this PDF, and then all they have to do is plug in their email and they get access.
Correct.
So this is really more of an email question, but someone was saying, is it considered spam when you use an email that's grabbed from somebody's website? Is there a rule as far as what you can send that person, what information you can and cannot send them, or if they have to opt in to receive communications from you, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So the lead magnet thing that I talked about is really cool. It's also part of our free feature because I really believe in helping businesses get more ROI. And that's why we're doing more free things than ever, right? There's nobody out there doing free things. But if you're reading this blog post, you see that little download and you click on it and you get this pop-up, they're actually opting in per se by downloading that. So if they put their email address and they hit submit, there'll be a thank you message saying, here, thank you for downloading it. And our platform actually delivers that content to that email address, so you don't even have to work with MailChimp or anything else. Makes it simple for you to deliver the content. But where you need to work with MailChimp is that when that data goes to MailChimp, MailChimp might have a double opt-in thing where they send another email saying, hey, opt into XYZ company's, email list or something like that. That you can turn on or off inside MailChimp, but our tool doesn't even do that because we want to provide that lead magnet to that person because they're waiting for it. It has to be fast. We didn't want it to be where the business owner has to go send an email. We want it to be fast and easy and frictionless, and it doesn't ask you for it. But like I said, you essentially get that contact database to go do whatever else with it, like upload it to Constant Contact, MailChimp, whatever, or it can go directly to those platforms, but you might have a thing that is based on whatever type of account you have and whatever list it's going to. They might ask you to send a confirmation email. It depends on the ESP, email service provider, and every one of them have different rules. But technically, they are giving you their email address. This is not spam because they're requesting it. You're not grabbing their email. They're giving it to you. And you can also refrain from getting Gmail and Outlook to be more professional email if you're in the B2B world. So there's a lot of things that you can do to get the right quality content into your system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have time for about one or two more questions, and then I'll close things up here. But I have an interesting question here. So this person says, I run a small chain of retail stores that's part of a larger national brand. The e-commerce website is run by a different business unit. My challenge is to drive brick and mortar store traffic and sales through SEO. How do you approach this differently, given that the main website business is separate from the store business? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. So if you're part of a big organization, you're a franchise or whatever it might be, the first thing I would do is I've come across these kinds of challenges before. You have to understand the rules of you having your own website. If that's okay with the corporate, then you can go ahead and build something, yourtown.com. So let's just say that you're a babysitting franchise. So you'll be like babysitter, town.com, because that way you can create content around finding the right babysitter, the right nanny, or whatever for your solution, and that might not be okay. That might be okay with the corporate. There are different hotel chains that I worked with that didn't let you do that, or they did it and then they said no afterwards because they didn't want to compete with the same terms. So if your corporate is okay with it, then you establish your own website, and then when you claim your local listings and all of those, you send the traffic to the website that you built rather than the corporate domain name where it's an e-commerce site. And once that's up and running, then you would start to execute some of the things that you talked about because you want to be owning this site. You can send recommendation to the corporate. They're not going to do it. That's not the strategy. You want to be taking control over the situation. And other things that I've seen people doing is they build a website that is more generic in the sense that it gives you more information, but at the end of it, it might have a like a call to action to contact such and such company. You might be a cleaning company. You might be a corporate, like office cleaning or whatever it might be. And then you might not even be able to do, build your own website, but you can still create a website that generates content about this service. And then at the bottom, you might have a call to action to say, get more quotes or, request more quote, and that could go to another website. There's so many ways around it. Trust me, guys. I don't think the corporates are ever against you building your business because it's a win-win, but you just have to make sure you work with the terms and conditions that they've set for you.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, one last question and then we'll wrap things up. So this question is about images on your website as well as on social media. So when you post an image on your website, there's an option to title it or kind of fill in the metadata. Does doing things like that help your SEO at all, like captioning or titling your images that you use?
Absolutely. So hundreds and thousands of people, like myself, I search for a particular term and I click over to the images tab because I want to see pictures relevant to this thing that I'm looking for. If you're looking for a location, you're looking for a hotel, whatever it might be, I want to see what it's like. So I want to find everything around that. If you might search for a person's name and go to the picture section. So it is extremely relevant. If Google does not know what the name of the picture is, Google's not going to organize it and archive it and index it or whatever it might be. So you want to put the name of the photo be the same. You want the name of the photo to be the thing that you do. You want the alt tags. You want to have a description around it to all be around the actual content. And that's how you will be able to get found in the images search. And not just uploading image 1.jpg is not going to get you ranked. Right. You want to make sure, you want to make sure it's corporate cleaning. I'm sorry, I'm using all the things. I'm in my office, I'm looking around like, what would this office need? It needs window cleaning for sure. So window cleaning services Chicago.jpg would be the way to optimize that image.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've just about run out of time. So Solomon, if you could just forward it to the thank you slide, I'll just give my brief little outro and we'll be done here. So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for joining us. Thank you for being active and engaged, asking questions. Like I said, if we didn't get to any of your questions, they'll be emailed to Solomon and he will respond to you, within a certain amount of time. And then if you have any other questions that you think of after the conclusion of the webinar, you can always email us at info@marketingbitz.com. Look for the email tomorrow in your inbox with the recording in it. And have a great day, everybody. Thanks again.